Hey everybody, I'm back. It's been like 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks since my last video. Both my kids were sick and I almost made it to the end of the second one being sick, and then I started getting that feeling behind my nose, and you know what that means. It means you're getting sick. So still getting, I'm better now, but I still have the cough. So hopefully I will not have any coughing fits through this video because I still don't know how to edit them out. So it's not attractive. And the editing thing is funny because I had signed up for 2 iMovie classes at my library, and the day that I was supposed to go to the iMovie 1 class, they actually canceled it. So eventually I'll go to the class and figure out how to use iMovie, but for right now, if I make a mistake or if I cough, then it's just gonna have to be in the video. But anyway, this is a kind of a different video for me because it is, I'm dropping my paper. It's a book review, and it is by Dana Gresh. And it's 6 ways to keep the little in your girl. I do have 2 girls, so it's not that I need a book to teach me how to raise them, but I thought this was really neat. I mean, it is written from, it's a non-denominational standpoint, but it is Bible-based teachings and how to, you know, in this, the way that the life and times are of the day now, you know, it's like girls are sexualized so early in the media and, you know, pictures and magazines and all that stuff. I just thought it would be interesting to read just to see what she said, you know, how to take those things that are going on right now in society and make sure that they don't affect my kids any more than they have to. You know, like any self-help book, a lot of things are common sense, but what's common sense to one person isn't necessarily common sense to somebody else. So some of these things that, and I just kind of made notes on the high points of what the book was about, and some of these things are kind of like duh, and other things to some people are things you might not have thought of. So I just wanted to go through this real quick. Hopefully it's real quick. I always say that, and it's not always quick. But you know, it's a really short read. I don't have a whole lot of time for reading, but I just read it whenever I would take my daughters to church on Wednesday nights. I would sit out in the hallway and read this. So it was kind of interesting. Basically it talks about how that values regarding sobriety and other common teen issues are actually formed between the ages of 8 and 12. So this book is mainly centered on what they call tweens, somebody who's not yet a preteen, but they're not really a little girl anymore. You know, kind of the 8 to 12 range, which I have an older daughter. I have a daughter that's in that range. You know, sexual content and marketing of preteens is linked to eating disorders, self-esteem issues, depression once the girls actually get, you know, become teenagers. So it's really important now to help the girls build their self-esteem and confidence now, so that when they start dating or they start seeing things in the media more often that, you know, might cause them self-esteem issues, which, trust me, if you're a woman, you know that's pretty much any magazine you look at. Now is the time to really build those qualities in your daughters. And then the author had done a 12-year research studying the behavior of at-risk teenagers. And she concluded that tweens who are exposed to basic age-appropriate and Bible-based value systems between the age of 8 and 12 are less likely to engage in sexual activities, substance abuse, and violence when they're teens. Which kind of, again, that's kind of like duh, you know, teach them young how to avoid these situations. But, you know, it was talking about 8 and 12 in particular being the formative years of really needing those values to be, you know, instilled in them. And if you do that, they'll be more likely to have healthy friendships and do better in school. And then Dana goes on to, she lists the values, basic values that you want your daughters to have, and which ages they're, you know, they're really being formed. So between 2 and 5 years old, a kid really starts to develop a set of morals that is basically from copying what they see. You know, they want to do what you do, or they're, you know, they're female role models. They will tend to want to copy what they do. So it's really important to train yourself just as much as you are your daughter to behave the way that you want your daughter to behave. Do you want your daughter to go out drinking at night? Do you want her to have numerous boyfriends coming over? I mean, all those things that you might or might not want your daughters to do. That's the years when they really start paying attention between 2 and 5 and mimicking what they see you do. And then between the ages of 6 and 11, they really start to develop their own set of morals by asking you why you believe what you believe. They go from just seeing you do it and thinking that's the way it has to be to wondering why you do things the way you do. You know, why do we go to church? Why do we not go to church? You know, things like that. And then between the ages of 12 and pretty much adulthood, the child is living in different levels of living out their own moral value system. So, you know, based on what they've seen you do and based on your answers when they ask you why you do what you do. You know, why do we pray? Why do we not pray? Why does my friend's family go to church? Why do we not go to church? Things like that. And then talks really about, and this is kind of a duh thing too, you know, connect with your daughters at an early age. You want to teach them to trust you and not, I don't want to say be your friend, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not your friend, I'm your mother. But you can be both. My mom was my friend and my mother. I mean, I told her everything. But she still, I mean, I still respected her and wanted to do what she wanted me to do, and I wanted to make her happy. So she was still able to raise us and discipline us when necessary, but she was also our best friend that would listen to us. So I know it can be done. And that's what it's saying, you know, at a really early age, it's really important to start a truthful and open communication system with your daughters, because that makes it easier for them to talk to you when they get older about things that might be hard to talk about, like boys or sex or self-esteem or anything like that. Give her undivided attention, ask her opinions, and then she said always ask questions with questions. So, you know, if your daughter brings up a certain thing and you say, well, how does that make you feel? Or do you think, you know, so-and-so reacted the way they should have reacted? Do you think this person in this movie should have dressed that way or talked that way? You know, try to keep it open-ended and then ask questions. And then give her time to express her feelings without interrupting. You know, it's really hard when they start talking. You want to just jump in and say, oh, well, this happened and this shouldn't have been said and that was wrong. You know, try to let them express how they feel before you jump in with your opinion. And then basically kind of as a family, you know, whether that be a mother and a father or just the mom or just the dad, you know, try to establish family TV favorites that are age appropriate for everybody. In our house we have TiVo. I know a lot of people do now. We always fast forward commercials. I think really the only channel I'm not as strict about is the Disney Channel, but even then, you know, my girls, even my 3-year-old knows if it's commercial, she'll yell from the next room, it's commercial, because I need to go in there and fast forward it, because you never know what's going to be on commercials. But just the TV show in general, you know, if you have to pre-screen things even to watch to make sure it's appropriate, but have something that everybody in the family can watch together. And like I said, pre-screen movies. There's a website that actually my brother had told me about it, but I thought it was neat that it was mentioned in the book. It's Plugged In Online. And I think they have books and TV shows too, but I know they have movies. So we always wait when a new movie comes out, and we wait till the day that it comes out. And it's up usually that day, the review. And it'll tell everything that's in the movie, both positive and negative. And if it's negative, it'll tell if there's bad language, if there's any kind of like things that are immodest. It even tells spiritual content if there's certain references to God, rather negatively or positively. It just kind of prepares you to know what's going to happen, because I hate when you go to a movie and you think just because it's rated G or PG that it's going to be appropriate, because there's been times that we've gone to PG movies, or I've seen a PG movie thinking, oh, my kids would love this, and then I don't think there's things in there that I don't think are appropriate. So that's a great website to bookmark on your computer and check it often. And there's quite a few older movies on there too. So if you go to Redbox and you see an older movie, there's quite a few of the older ones that are on there to, you know, for reviews. And then it's, you know, she mentions when something questionable does happen, if you're not able to get to the commercial, or if the friends at school are talking about something that happened in the media, you know, talk to your daughter about it, ask her questions about it, how it makes her feel. Do you think it was an appropriate choice, you know, for this thing to happen, you know, for this person to make this choice of being in this movie or saying this word or whatever. And then just one funny thing, I thought it was funny. This book was written in 2010, and I thought it was funny that the author mentioned Miley Cyrus, because she was talking about, this is right after, I guess, written right after Miley Cyrus left the Disney franchise and stopped being Hannah Montana, and her first CD had come out from, you know, since then. And she was talking about how that she was trying so hard to shed her innocent look, and which all the Disney stars do. You know, and how she was being so controversial. And I just thought it was funny, because I finished reading this book a couple days after the VMAs this year, which Miley Cyrus was a big topic of conversation. Just thought it was funny that even 3 years later, Miley is still the topic and the example of don't let this happen to you kind of a thing. You know, she was talking about, though, using that as a way to, if your daughter has seen it or heard about it, or her friends at school talking about it, you know, ask her, how does she feel about the way that Miley is presenting herself now, and goes back to that, you know, leave it open-ended, let her talk, ask her questions about how that makes her feel. Does she think Miley's making the right choices? And it's not just about Miley Cyrus. Anybody that they see, you know, the girls nowadays, they don't have very many role models, and the ones that they thought they did have, like maybe Hannah Montana, have turned into this new look, or whatever you want to call it. And you know, it's really scary, because if you want your daughter to be able to have a role model, and if you're looking for her to be able to have one in, you know, in Hollywood or on, you know, in music, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of luck. So that's why it's really important to be the role model that your daughter needs. Even if it's, you know, you think right now it doesn't make a difference because you're just her mom, or whoever, you know, the woman who's raising her, whether that be her grandmother or her aunt or whatever. But it means a whole lot more than you think. Because eventually I think they will come back to the fact that they see you do these things every day. They see you taking care of your family. They see you taking care of them, how you act, what your priorities are. And that's what really ends up making your daughter be able to grow up to the woman that you think that she should be. So I hope this was helpful. It's a different video for me. I mean, a lot of my videos are about shopping and saving money, but I mean, if you read the description of my page, it's anything being a wife, a mother, and making a home and making a life. And sometimes that's about saving money with coupons. Sometimes it's about spending money on a Coach purse. And in this case, it's, you know, helping to, just a little bit of help with raising girls in this day and age. I looked to see if the author had a book about boys. I didn't see one. But she does have other really good books. I think, I don't remember. I don't know. If you Google her name, then it pulls up all her books. I have another one of hers. It's the Mother-Daughter Devotional. And it's really neat too, because it's dated. It doesn't matter when in the year you start, because you can just pick up, like if you start today, October, whatever it is, 6th, you can just start at October 6th and carry on the 365 days till, you know, it stops. I mean, it doesn't matter when you start, but they are dated, and there's a Bible verse for each day. A little section that kind of prompts the conversation that you can have to your daughter about that little Bible verse, and then a little story that's kind of written in more of a modern time way of understanding for girls. So, you know, it's a nice book, and my daughter and I are working on that right now. There's also a website called secretkeepergirl.com, and that is run by Dana, and there's actually, they have a lot of stuff. They teach, there's information about modesty, self-esteem, sex, dating, role models. There's some crafts on there, and they have seminars too. I know they go around to a lot of churches and convention centers and things like that. So if you go to the website, there might be one coming to your area. There's not one coming by me. But I'll put that down in the information box below for that website. So, you know, basically overall, starting early is crucial, you know, to having a strong moral teenager. And let me know if you have any comments or thoughts or suggestions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.